over to Dave and Gouda Taylor's at Taylor Gardens Nursery, which is located in Spar, Florida, kind of between Spar and Citra. And Dave has a awesome grape operation going on. He's got a grape U-pick, and so I'm gonna go over there and ask him about growing grapes in Florida, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of good information on how you can grow grapes in your backyard. And also, I gotta tell you, I got these glasses, right? These are for when I drive, but not because I'm like going blind or anything, but because they make me look really awesome. So I like to wear them when I'm in the car, because I've got this really awesome van that looks cool, and then I wear the glasses and then I look cool too. So anyhow, we're gonna talk about grapes, and we'll get to that when I get to Taylor Gardens. And here we are coming into scenic Spar, Florida. And here we are at Taylor Gardens. I'm standing here with Dave Taylor of Taylor Gardens Nursery and Grape U-pick, and Dave has been growing, as you can see, an incredible amount of grapes here, and he's got I know upwards over a dozen varieties. I believe it was something like 17, but Dave can't remember himself, so Dave, what type of grapes are the grapes that grow in Florida?
Muscadines.
Now, what's different between muscadines and, say, your northern grapes?
Muscadines take the heat far better. The other vines will grow down here, but they fungus out. They pick up all sorts of, like Pierce's disease and a couple of others. They're just not made for the heat that we get and the humidity.
Right. Right, so these things, I mean, I know this summer we've had temperatures in the upper 90s, and we've had torrential rains, and I mean, you know, you see some rotten leaves falling off and that sort of thing, but the grapes I'm seeing around here look really quite healthy.
Believe it or not, too, these leaves are now going into the fall.
Right, so that's why they're yellowing out at this point.
Yeah, it's like end of September. And then they'll start dropping soon, and we just don't think it's the fall because we're not up north. So they know
right.
It's the fall.
They've got the idea. So tell me, it looks like your spacing here is about, what would you say, 12 or 16 feet, something like that?
15 feet.
And I mean, these grapes, they're growing way into each other at this point, even at that level. I mean, for somebody growing grapes in their backyard, you know, can you pack them in tighter than this?
You know, you can, but the also different thing, I take mine both directions. Other people take them all in one direction. It just depends what you want to do. If it's in homeowner, he can go higher and put this thing over a pagoda. It's done this way here because of our way we prune, and because of the amount that we have, and because of the ease of picking.
Right, so you've got just one wire basically at easy picking level.
One wire, the easy picking. You can just get in here and you can pick.
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you have to do a lot of pruning during the season to keep them up on the wires?
Normally about twice during the season you go along and just cut it. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have these electric wires here, but I've had such a raccoon problem. That's the only reason.
Right.
Otherwise I wouldn't have them.
I see, so you either have a choice of having wires or having grapes, I guess.
Yeah. The squirrels jump over it. They're clever.
My goodness. So in the winter, that's your main pruning. Is it a ton of work?
Yeah, it is quite a lot of work because you've got to take each one, you've got to cut it loose, take it back and pick up 2 to 3 nodes and cut it off there. So you've got 1, 2, 3. You can go 2 just depending on how you feel. Then as well, you've got to make sure that you space between them. They recommend 4 inches. So if you've got 2 or 3 right next to one another, you sort of hope that the weaker one is in the middle.
Right, right. And then and I see that, I mean, these look like they make grapes all the way along the entire row here from what you must have pruned this last winter.
If you do that, you'll get a much higher yield. If you don't prune them, you won't get as many. So I've got a bird.
Got a bird nest in there. And the birds like the grapes.
Get a birdie.
Yeah, this is an incredible amount of grapes. I mean, how many, I would guess, I mean, it looks like you've got maybe 4 or 5 gallons of grapes on one of these, and this is after you've had it picked.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And there's a lot of grapes still on here right now.
A lot of grapes.
You know, so, I mean, what would you say your, I mean, these are, how old are these, 3 years or 4 years?
These are going into their 3rd year now.
So this is the 3rd year and you've got 4 to 5 gallons, I would guess, of grapes on just one of these. That's
The yield you can get from a vine a good year when it's mature at 3 years old, like 60 pounds a vine.
wow. Yeah, 60 pounds. So if the average homeowner put maybe 4 in their backyard, that would be plenty to make wine and raisins and pies and freeze for the whole year.
More than enough. And you can make wine out of anything, as you know, as long as you can ferment it. But there are certain muscadines that have the properties that make them more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Fermentable? Or more desirable or better flavor?
They just have the properties to make a better wine.
Right. Well, that's right. Yeah, it makes sense because there's grapes that are considered table grapes and grapes that are considered wine grapes, and the wine grapes don't necessarily even taste all that good for the table.
No. And the wine grapes are normally smaller.
Okay. Probably higher tannin content, I would think.
More than likely, yeah.
Now, you were telling me earlier there's a cross between a Muscadine grape and a Concord grape that's been developed.
Yes, by the University of Florida, called a Southern Home. It's very, very popular, and you can actually look here and you can see the leaf.
Oh yeah, the leaf is more like a way lobed. Yeah, see, that looks like a wild muscadine that you'd see grown by the road, where that doesn't, that looks much more like a northern grapevine. But it's still got that thin stem and leaf, you know, not quite as coarse as a northern.
Right.
Okay, it's very cool. So what's the flavor is better?
They're very sweet. They've got a high sugar content, and they pick well. They travel well. And they just have all those good properties about them. I don't know what they're like for making wine, not being a wine maker. People are just beginning to pick now, and some guy said he was going to make wine out of them, so I guess I'll hear from him eventually.
Yeah, that'd be cool to find out if it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so
I think it's supposed to have the 3 properties: wine, table, and jelly.
oh, that's very nice. They definitely taste different than the muscadines. One more question for you. What do you have to feed these things? We talked about pruning and varieties, but do you have to feed them all that much?
No, amazingly, they have a huge root system, and all I use is a 10-10-10 with the minor elements, and a couple of pounds, depending on the age of the vine, When I start off, it's 3 times a season, and then it gets more the second year. I've got a whole schedule there about it, and that's how you go. Now that they mature, I just feed them twice a season, and pretty easy to do. Put a ring around them about 6 inches from the trunk, and that's it.
That's it. 10, 10, 10, and some minor elements 3 times, and that's not a bad trade for 60 pounds of grapes.
Yeah, it's not. It's cheap fertilizer.
One last. I guess I wanna see how you put these posts in here.
I drilled a hole through them.
So you've actually got these in between posts are doing support, and then I guess you've got ratchets on the ends.
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that.
Can you see that one?
All right, so that's yes. So this it wraps around inside there.
Yes.
And then this clicks tighter. So you said what you can buy all the ratchets, but you need a tool to tighten it.
Fits on there, and it'll pull this around.
You can just ratchet it up.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of tension strength to go down that whole thing. I see why you would have to put in all your posts in between. You drilled at the same height.
We got black widow spiders.
Comes with black widows. That's cool.
Free. I mean, it's just a lever that slides in there, and you just and you can turn it around, and because the weight.
Yeah, I imagine the weight of these vines has got to be something.
It's bent some of the, because I should have ratcheted them tighter, but I was a little bit scared that they'd snap.
Wow. Did you have to put concrete on the end posts?
No, I didn't. I just put them in the ground, and then I put an African stay on them.
Oh, all right. I see that. That's very cool.
I just looped my wire around, joined them, then put a little bar in and wound them
Just
around.
cranked it up.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's working fine. All right. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
These are elephant ears, by the way. So watch out for elephants.
All right. Thanks, Dave. So, pretty simple. Basically, you make sure you prune well, you plant muscadine grapes, you fertilize 3 times a year with some 10-10-10 and some micronutrients, which I think you could totally make up the difference if you put on compost or cottonseed meal and other organic fertilizer. That's the way I would prefer to do it, but you know, sometimes yields are key, so if 10-10-10 is what you got, go for it. Anyhow, appreciate Dave actually putting this together for us and spending a little bit of time answering questions, and I hope that you decide to grow some muscadine grapes at home, and let me know if you do, and leave a comment below this video, and go check out my blog at thesurvivalgardener.com.